4, 3, 2, 1. He missed his cue.
Was I supposed to say that?
You were supposed to say that.
Son of a bitch. Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to Sideshow America.
Hi, guys and girls.
Yes. We decided to do audio only because we have so many technical difficulties. And I'm going to tell you the room we're doing this in has to be haunted because other shows and other things I'm doing, all equipment is failing. It doesn't matter. We have amps failing. Other computers are failing.
Screen's not turning on. Lots of things.
Lots of things. So just as soon as we can, we need another place. There's just, it's amazing. I could be at home working on stuff, never a problem. Go to another room, work, never a problem. But in this room.
You could be working outside off a generator, and it's better than this room.
Yes. So anyways, welcome to Sideshow America. And man, what a day today. I got lost in so much news this week. I'm like, what are we talking about this week? There's just so much. But, it was just handed to us. And like everybody else that's talking it to death, we're going to talk ours to death, of course. We're going to talk Roe Vs Wade, Overturn.
That's a good one.
And what inspired me was the reactions. Is I almost have to talk about the morals and just, I don't know, man, I think we could talk all night about this.
People were outraged. Yeah, especially some movie stars. They had some things they wanted to say, and they weren't too happy.
Movie stars.
Yeah, you remember Alyssa Milano? You know who that is?
Oh, gosh, she's a freak. She's mad about everything all the time.
Well, she said, this banning abortion will disproportionately affect the people of color and LGBTQ+.
It's funny you say that. Okay, just so the audience knows, we didn't get a chance to talk about this. I've been complaining about this all day to everyone I talk to. I have, first of all, let me mention back my story about 2020 because I'm just going to hang on to that till I die.
You preach it.
Where, again, I'm horrified over the women being beaten and a black kid being shot, long story short, and for some reason that makes me homophobic and transphobic. And here we go again, another issue that has to do with something else, and the gays. And let me explain myself. I'm not against gays right now. I'm not. But this is not your fight. Also, there's this thing about gays and gay marriage and blacks out of nowhere today that I'm hearing about where they're threatened. And it's like, no. I'm going to take the women's side right now. We're talking about women's rights right now.
Yeah.
We're not talking about gay. We're not talking about trans. We've been talking about trans and gays a lot the last 2 years.
Right. Well, then this isn't a BLM issue either. This is about women and their bodies and killing children.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And I heard that so much today.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Like for some reason, if you're against killing children by the millions, you're a Nazi. You're white supremacist. If you don't like killing babies, you got a problem.
But isn't that what Nazis did though? Because see, one of the things I thought of that I woke up to in 2020 and to me being political is, see, back then, all throughout history, the rulers would force you to do things, right, against your will. They would kidnap you or come in, take over your city, take over your town, take your children, shoot your children in front of you. We figured out a better way of doing that now, and that's through TikTok, and that we have freedom to do so. Yeah. So now we don't have to have soldiers come in and march us out. Women are more than willing and happy to go ahead and have their children killed and destroyed. It's an awesome battle plan because, you don't have to go to war. You don't have to spend any money on bullets. You don't have to spend any money on missiles. Maybe that's me being a conspiracy theorist right now, but I'm like, you know what? I think after World War II, when Germany got its ass kicked, and I think this goes so much deeper with the Nazis. I don't think this was just a madman. I think this is a group of people that want things a certain way in the world. I think they got back together and be like, we have to have a smarter way of doing this.
Hey,
computers.
It makes sense, Well, and I get it, I mean, you kill the babies, you get their stem cells, the rich people live longer,
I see, a few years ago I would have said you're nuts. Yeah. But then I started learning about Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. How is she still alive?
She should not be here anymore.
Does she bathe in the blood of little children? Because it almost seems like it, Most people would be, I don't know, out of politics by then, but she's going to be running again. She's going to run.
See, I'm
And
middle aged, and I can't. There's things I have to stop doing now. There's things I don't want to go out in a crowd because my legs hurt.
well, wasn't that the thing? She was kind of bitching at Trump about that we're gonna work on the amendment and see if you're too old to hold office. I forget what they were calling it. It was something last year, a few years ago. They were talking about that where you have to be mentally competent to be in office. And then once Biden got in, she kind of dropped that whole issue.
She had to.
Yeah. Well, with good reason. Well, because that, and two, they were going to use her own words against her. Like if he's too old, well, then you're definitely too old. I mean, I like her saying, we'll pull another arrow from our quiver. The last time that saying was used, I don't know either, but it was before I was born.
I think it was before mom and dad were born.
Right. Back when we didn't have guns. When we just had bows and arrows.
Maybe there's more to this than we realize.
Oh, that could go deeper than we think.
And here we are. Yet YouTube's probably going to censor us and be like, "Get these conspiracy theorists." And the thing is, I would think you're crazy, but I'll tell you what, man. 2020. Just so everyone understands this, man. I was all about COVID. I mean, for a good reason. Because I was making money at stocks and studying things, and I was way aware about COVID before it ever hit the United States, like back in November, would be 2019, maybe even like October. And I used to think conspiracy theorists were nuts. And then during the whole COVID thing, I'm like, man, guys, this is a pandemic. Get yourself together. And then all it took was a few life experiences. And that's what's funny about the media. We're getting way off track here. But what I think is funny with the media is when they tell you what misinformation is and the lies that the Trumpers are telling you. And it's like, no, we're watching our neighbors go through this. I went through it. You're going through it. What do you mean this is misinformation? And they're spreading this. They have this on YouTube where it's censored. On Facebook, they're censoring you. But it's like, but I'm watching it happen. It happened to my friend. This happened to you. Maybe we didn't have all the same experiences. But let's be honest. I mean, you had something that you witnessed, that you lived with, 4 or 5 months ago, that if you talk about on YouTube, they're going to shut this down. And it's the truth because it happened. You sat there and had to deal with it. By the way, if people want to know what that is, it has to do with hospital and things we're not supposed to talk about after you get a certain, medical procedure. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you're supposed to be fine, but somehow you still end up in the hospital. Anyways, we won't go into that.
That's a whole nother show.
Back to Roe versus Wade.
Well, right. There's plenty of material on that one. I always had a question, like if somebody murders a woman that's pregnant, why did they get tried for 2 murders? And yet if the lady wants to kill her child, it's not murder. You know what I mean? What's the sense in that? If somebody else kills the woman that's pregnant, it's a human now. It's a you killed the baby even though it wasn't born. But if the same lady wants to go kill the baby herself, it's not murder. But I would get charged with murder if I killed the pregnant lady. 2 murders. How does that make sense?
I feel like we're in a world right now where we just kind of pick and choose and change daily. And one of the things that points to that is this crap we're all going through where we're gender fluid and I might be a woman this morning, I might be a man tomorrow afternoon. I know a lot of people, what does that have to do with anything? And what I mean by that is we're promoting insanity. So maybe this morning we should be enraged that this baby got killed. Then this afternoon, don't tread on my rights, I want abortion. So it's kind of like we can't make up our mind in society right now. We're promoting it. We are promoting it. What's what anymore?
Right. Well, and they say, being men, that we really don't have a say in what women do with their bodies. But with the whole gender things that are going on now, what if I feel like a woman today? Can I comment on abortions then? Who are you to say that I can't? Makes perfect sense to me.
Touche, man. Yeah, you can't have men talk. You're assuming my gender. See, the thing is, it pisses me off when people assume pronouns. Yeah. You're assuming my gender.
Exactly. Today I feel like a woman, so you will address me as such.
And the thing is, okay, we're talking about, I can't talk like you or think as sharp as you do. But let's shift this. Let's go to this. Today, I identify as a woman. and I want to fight for abortion rights. Maybe I don't want to fight for abortion rights. See, it's getting confused. No matter what my voice is, if I feel like I'm a woman, how does this translate? Does when the left is arguing these things that I can be gender fluid, I can be male, I can be female, they were saying it's a woman's right, doesn't that really clearly say in nature what a woman is? Because now we have this thing going around on what is a woman, and I'm not trying to talk about Matt Walsh's documentary. He made that documentary based on that you can't define what a woman is anymore. I don't know if you've been watching these videos where they're trying to get people to define what a woman is, and they get caught up because like, oh shit, I if I define this woman, then I'm on the side of picking genders and saying that gender does exist.
Right, it's a slippery slope asking that question. What is a woman?
Like what women's health?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of like I said last week, the week before. I think a woman is what the opposite of a man, right? I mean, they have curves and they're
one's
softer.
One's an innie, one's an outie.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, innie and outie. That's basically it. That's
they smell nice.
Yeah, they smell nice.
Unless they have like Down syndrome or something.
They're usually friendly.
Wait, women?
Sometimes they can be.
What the hell are you talking about? What world do you live in?
If you buy them things.
Boy, liberals aren't the only ones confused here.
No, I'm very confused. You know it.
What the hell is? They're
Again,
nice.
I fall into the trap too. I can't define a woman. I don't feel like a woman right now, so I couldn't tell you.
Wow. I heard they're crazy. Hormone issues.
Well, there was that old joke, how did God make a woman? He took a man and he stripped away all logic and reasoning. I'm just kidding, folks.
Oh, man.
But it was a good joke.
Well, what got me today was the moral fighting and the moral compass and the arguing and the back and forth online and the people with the brilliant memes where they're like, aha, I told you, isn't that funny and clever? And the memes were not clever. There is one meme that I find absolutely hilarious. Let me pull this up and we're gonna discuss this one. And what it is as I'm talking about the insanity of the mind, we don't even know what we're doing when we're fighting anymore. We don't know what gender we are. We don't know what life is anymore. So how the hell are we going to know what we're fighting about or fighting for anymore? Okay. This one was awesome. This picture of pregnancy begins with a penis. Regulate that. And this was supposed to be a checkmate. This was supposed to be the tell-all, aha, I got you, society. What are you going to say about that? Now, a meme online, okay? And it's just, if you look at this, how low is your goddamn IQ and how needy are you as a woman? Pregnancy begins with a penis. Regulate that. You don't fucking need a man. What happened to independent women that don't need a man? Well, they don't need a penis. Well, maybe you should begin with your little promiscuous personality and disorder that's unsafe and unsanitary. Maybe your depression where you always have to be satisfied by having a dick in you all the time. Sorry if I'm getting graphic, but when I see this, I just think it's hilarious. Like, it's the man's fault. Whoops. Now, see, this is going to branch off into rape now.
Oh, everything's our fault. Everything is the man's fault.
Pregnancy begins with a penis. Regulate that.
Now,
you know what? You're right.
Happiness.
Exactly. You see, you're right. Maybe if you started regulating that, there'd be a lot more happier people. Right. Maybe girls would think twice before they wake up next to the stranger and have his stupid baby. Well, that's what abortion's for, I guess. So there goes my argument. Maybe men would be happier. They wouldn't have to solve puzzles all the time. They age them faster. The puzzle of a woman's mind.
Oh, well.
Is anyone holding a gun to your head and telling you have to take a penis? Because that's rape. So the person that wrote this song, I just want to say that's not... It's regulating a penis. Honey, you can do something about being raped.
Yeah, you don't have to take the penis.
You don't have to.
I mean, it's your choice. You have a choice about that.
That's
flex that choice.
Being a lesbian is for. Well, not really. I think it's just.
Well, even if you're
that-
straight, you can choose the penis you want to sleep with. You don't have to just.
What do you mean? So that night when I'm desperate, not me. Well, yeah, because I'm identifying as a woman right now. So that night that I'm desperate and lonely, and I'm mad at Dad, and I just need to get my mind off things, and I'm just going to take this random strange cock with sores and bleeding, pus
You
and
use protection. I mean, that's why, in Mount. There's an old saying, you do the dick check first. Every smart girl knows you do the dick check. You inspect it. You don't just take it. You got to inspect it first. It's kind of like for a guy sending in the scouts. You just don't take for granted you think they're a woman. You have to find out.
Boy, I will not make that mistake again.
You can't just commit. You got to do some research first.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I.
Well, and go back to that too. If men have no say in women's abortions, well, you have no say about our dicks. Okay, you can't regulate our dicks.
Well, I mean, they're trying to, because men have been made out to be evil. I mean, let me tell you something. Let me tell you about prejudices in this country. Okay, I was watching a show the other day, just because it was on YouTube and stuff was just playing around, and there's a buzz somewhere here. Oh, goodness. So anyways, and this show was really pushing the agenda of racism and sexism, and it was just, that's what the whole episode was about. And I got to thinking about it, and it's just, I think the only true prejudice that is the United States anymore, and I know people would disagree with me on this, but what's the one thing you could say that no one's going to argue with you with? If I wanted to make comments about black men in this building and say they're a black thug, call him the N-word, what would happen to me.
Oh yeah.
If I started, calling gay men a queer, I don't want queers in here. What would happen to me. Just let people know I don't feel this way. I don't care, but I observe society. Okay. If I said something about I don't want no damn woman telling me what to do, what happens with that? What happens with that?
You're sexist.
But the one thing you cannot defend against is being a white male. Now, if you're an alpha male, you're really screwed in this society.
Yeah.
You really are. You're the problem for everything that's ever happened to everybody. Even though that alpha male probably has nothing to do with anything because his IQ's not high enough. He's not the one that screwed you and got you pregnant. He's not the one running the government that had slaves. He's not the one that's passing laws to keep gays from getting married. But he's the one that gets the blame.
Oh yeah, blame the man.
Blame the man.
They have for years. Yeah. But why? Why?
I have a whole thought process on that. I have a whole thought process because, in my opinion, real men that get things done, men that are logical, and let's not confuse men with jackasses. I'm talking real men. They get things done. They are the ones that build the buildings. They are the ones that invent. They are the ones that keep things going. Now, I know it's going to make so many people mad. Well, what about women? What about women? Women haven't caught up to men yet on this. And women support men in a different way. There's other things women do behind the scenes that men, without them, men couldn't get this stuff done. So where everyone's trying to divide the house and divide and split hairs, they're not looking at the whole picture. What I'm trying to pull out is we're demonizing men. And men are in our strength. They are a symbol of wisdom. I mean, let's just be honest. A man that gets his ass kicked all the time probably knows more than people that don't get their ass kicked. And I think by feminizing men, I'm going to be honest, and this is going to be a bit of a conspiracy theory because this is what happened in Rome. I think by feminizing men and attacking men and demonizing men, you let down the walls of protection to society. You let down the walls of protection to our culture. Now divorce is easier. Now girls don't have a father figure anymore. Boys don't have a father figure anymore because we're demonizing men. We're demonizing men and we're turning them into little boys. They can no longer function as men. Because if you think about this transgender thing, why is it every time someone's confused about their gender, well, let's talk about males. Because they say how many genders there are. How come all those genders are feminine? How come there's not some that's really super, super, super masculine?
Yeah, super macho guy.
Well, that's...
I-
Well, we're not going to go on that one.
Macho man.
Macho man. Because I believe it. I believe, like I said, and people are going to think I'm crazy, but after World War II, I believe they did get back together. How are we going to break down and get into the walls of this land we want, this country, and these people? And you got to break things down. We're breaking down what men are. Because let me tell you something. We've separated men from women. Now that we've separated men from women, now we're attacking the women. Because now they don't have the defenses of the family.
The man is gone.
The man is gone.
Yeah, no protection.
We're attacking with gender. We're attacking, and anyone that says I'm wrong about that, the last 2 years, no one's given a shit about women. Now all of a sudden, this Roe versus Wade thing has come. Now all of a sudden, they care about women. Hey, you guys were asleep at the wheel. BLM was beating the crap out of women. Nobody cared. This transgender athlete thing, nobody cares what's going on with these women. You have transgenders, you have biological males tearing the hell out of these women. And you know what some arrogant assholes are saying? They're saying, well, sports isn't that important. You're not putting that much into it. But and these are men saying this. So you have men saying this about women athletes. Your athletics are not important enough. We're going to put men in it. But see, it's important enough that they have to put transgenders in there and men in there. So now we're attacking women. We're attacking their femininity. Now we can't even define what a hot woman is anymore. Now, I don't know if anyone's ever noticed this, and I'm hoping this podcast pulls this out. There was a time when it was evil when women had big breasts and they were on Playboy, and this was the sin. I think that was a peak of women in our civilization, because now you can't even be that. Now there's something wrong if you're in shape, you're beautiful.
Oh yeah, you're fat shaming now. If you're in shape and someone says you look good, it's like Adele when Adele lost a bunch of weight. Someone made the comment, "You look really good." So the media decide, well, what were you saying when she was fat? She didn't look good? And it's like, no, you were just saying the woman looked good. That's all it is. Why can't people accept that crap?
Oh yeah, yeah, and we're using that with transgenders though. We're starting to have shaming that if you don't date a transgender, you're transphobic.
Which is just crap. Maybe you don't like chicks with dicks.
See, this is an attack on women. I just don't understand why the feminists are like, hey, back off. We have fought to get this far. You're not get in your own lane.
Yeah, where are the feminists? Where have they been?
But then again, I'm speaking for women right now. I should probably shut up.
Well, in today's society, it's okay if you feel like that. You can associate with that. And people have to listen to you.
You know what I've heard every woman say? And again, what does this have to do with Roe versus Wade? We're talking about women's rights today. I have heard almost every woman that I work with, and my field, I work with a lot of women. I work with a lot of models, right? And every single one of them has never had a problem with transgender. They kind of do now. Just the ones I work with, which is like, what, not even a percentage of the world. Okay, so I'm just trying to be fair. One of the biggest things they complain about where transgenders are not women and they need to stay in their own lane is they don't know what it's like to go through a really, really bad period. So it's just, that's what divides them. That's where the division is right there, the period.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that and the pregnancy, a transgender person cannot get pregnant.
But you're going to have people to argue with you.
Yeah, no, they can argue all they want. You can't argue with facts. Men can't get pregnant.
And if they do?
How
do we do this with abortion?
Well, we call them a woman. A woman gets pregnant. A man
What
cannot.
kind of rights are those, though? If a man that identifies as a woman gets pregnant, you see, like we're going to a whole other realm here. How far are you going to play this pretend game with these children and the mental illness?
Well, to me, it's simple. The lion doesn't stop and explain to the gazelle why he does what he does. It's just their roles. They were born that way. That's what they do. The gazelle doesn't get to eat the lion. The gazelle can't become a lion. The lion can't become a gazelle. They are what they were born as.
Food,
yes.
Now, what were you saying earlier of Roe versus Wade? We're talking about some hypocrisy with Joe Biden here.
That was one of the things, probably one of the only things I can think of I agree with Uncle Joe on is in 1981, he kind of voted to overturn Roe versus Wade.
Wait, Joe Biden?
The Joe Biden.
The Joe Biden that we voted in that said if you don't vote for Joe Biden, you ain't black. The one that talked about the poor kids are just as bright as white kids.
Yep, the one that marched with Dr. Martin Luther King himself.
So Joe Biden, that's gonna save all the gays, save all that transgender, save all these women's rights. This is the man that did this in 1981.
Yeah. Looks like he had some sense in his younger years.
See, this is what pisses me off about people when they talk about voting and try to talk smart. They don't know what they're talking about. No. Because the thing is, you might start talking to find out, actually, I'm Republican. Yep. I had a discussion. I remember if I mentioned it the last show or not of someone I was talking with that at first they kind of made a good point and they talked about the people like in the ghettos, the people that just can't get themselves together, that if Republicans don't want to pay for abortion, they're going to have to pay for welfare. They can't get away with both. There's a side to that I agree with because life's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be what we want, and there's always going to be that side of life. Whether you like it or not, that's the way it is. On the same part of the conversation, this person was complaining about paying taxes and all the fees and different things in their business and what they're going through.
How expensive life's gotten.
And I thought, you're Republican because you're mad at Republicans for complaining about this, but yet you're here complaining about everything you have to pay. Well, this is one reason why you're paying this is because of these programs. And this is something that no one understands when they're talking about, when they're talking about voting and talking about policies. You got to go a little bit deeper. Because today, another conversation is abortion is illegal now. Yeah. You can't have abortions. Lots of women and lots of people are going to die. Well, here's the thing. If you want to continue with this, you can.
Yeah, I was going to bring that point up too, is that abortion is still legal. They just took away the feds can't regulate it anymore. That's all they did. That's all overturning Roe Vs Wade did. It means now people in California, they get to choose their abortion laws. People in New York, they get to choose, when you can kill your baby. Maybe in Oregon, you want to kill your baby at 8 months. Well, they might okay that, But maybe Iowa, you can only wait and you can only kill them when they're 6 months old. So they kind of just put the power back in the hands of the states because nobody knows the people like the people that run the state. What does California know about Washington? What does Washington know about Florida? If you're not from that area, I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it is they just overturned that. The feds can't control it anymore. The states can still have abortion. It's still legal. We just choose now. Every state gets to choose how legal it is.
And it's the end of the world. When I went online today, it was the end of the world. The end of the world. Like we have to give birth. We have to have sex and give birth for life to flourish. But now that we can't kill our babies anymore, it's the end of the world. This is how stupid their thinking is.
Smart
this
civilizations,
is how retarded they are.
They don't kill their kids, and they can't. They try and use that thing. Oh well, it's dangerous. A woman will just get a back alley abortion, and it's dangerous. No, that's kind of crap.
If you're a skank spreading STDs and breaking hearts, I don't care.
Well,
they're going to be honest.
Well, and just statistically, not that many women die giving birth or having an abortion. It doesn't happen like that. This isn't the 70s. This is 2022. So we have technology where people don't die giving birth that much anymore or having an abortion. I mean, somebody dies, the baby dies, but I guess that's part of the discussion, when is it a baby?
But I don't even like having that discussion. I'll tell you why. Because like I said, I think we're getting to a part in society. We don't know what a man is anymore. We don't know what a woman is anymore. When does life start? We're splitting hairs, man. What is life anymore? Are we just in front of the technology too much? Are we bored?
I think so. I think it's boredom, because some women say, oh, well, it's not a baby until it comes out. When it's inside, it's a fetus. It's not really real until it's out. But other people say, oh, once it has a heartbeat, then it's real. Then you can't kill it. You're killing something. I don't know. I don't agree with it.
Part of the discussion, too, we probably won't spend a lot of time on this one that I loved today over the Roe Vs Wade, is the argument of how many women are going to suffer and that guns have more rights.
Oh yeah. See, I
than
heard,
babies.
everyone gets a gun, but no one gets bodily autonomy. I guess it is. And that's just not true either. Not everybody gets a gun. You have any sort of stain on your record, any domestic violence or any drug charges, you're not allowed to get a gun. Which is, that's against our Second Amendment rights. But again, that's a whole other show. So
that's a show I think I could talk about. No, but when we was having that discussion today, I think when people start talking about guns, that's another, like you said, a whole other issue. But that's another thing, like politics or voting. You don't know what you're talking about when you start talking about guns. I didn't realize that either until a little bit later on, like 2018, 2019. Yeah. That, I mean, if you are someone living in fear all the time of someone coming in your home and they're going to take your life, they're trying to kidnap your fiance or girlfriend, you may have to get a gun. See, people don't think about this. If your little girl is in danger, like some of the people I was listening to today about this, if your family was in danger, deadly danger, now, number one, you want to defund the police. You don't want the police around. But you also don't want guns. Where's this protection going to come from? And it's just so weird because you don't have a problem aborting the babies. Killing the babies. But you want to protect your daughter, but you don't want guns. Like the whole, like I said, the whole thing in our culture, it's just like I said, it's brainwashing. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to offend a lot of people on this. Is this why they wanted drugs in our society? Do they want to shut off some of these filters in our brains so we're not thinking straight? I don't know. Something's going on.
I've never been that high that this kind of shit would make sense, man. And I've been pretty high. All right, it doesn't make sense.
Ask somebody that.
Yeah, I mean, wow. Some of the shit. Yeah, take away the guns, take away the police. Isn't that kind of what Germany and Russia did back in the day before they started killing people? Is they took the guns away from the civilians.
Yes, and that was one thing I was not agreeing with when they were trying to defund the police. They're trying to bring in, gosh, what was it? Correct me on this. Was it state police? That Washington was trying to have its own police over several cities, and that's a no-no because just like you said, every state's different, every city's different. The cops get to know the city, they get to know the state, they know what the problems are. You're just going to have a one-size-fits-all that's not going to happen. But in Germany, that was one of the big problems. Like a lot of people don't realize they had, the Danish police ruled over a lot of, ruling's not the right word, but they were in charge of a lot of the Jewish ghettos. And then they got rid of that and they brought in the Nazis. And what people don't understand, the Nazis were not bad guys when they first came in. What's the name of this author? When I get the name of this author, I will post it on one of our podcasts. But he talked about people were thankful when the Nazis came in. This was before they shipped them off to Auschwitz. Yeah. Because the Nazis were kind of the good guys at the time because the Danish police that kind of came in and took over everything were just assholes. And the Nazis had come in and they were giving the kids chocolate and they were making things gentler. They were helping them in their yard. They were helping me build some of the stuff in their house. And then we have jobs for you. You need to get on the train. No. So all these bad things that happen in our culture and society throughout generations, I think we watch too many movies. We think it's this, this monster comes in, this king, and just wipes everybody out. And that's not how it happens.
Well, and that's
not how it happens.
That's kind of part of the problem of not teaching history in schools. When you don't learn history, you kind of repeat it. If you don't look at what happened to these other countries. We know what happens when you put a bunch of gun control in and take away people's guns. And we already seen it. It's bad stuff.
Yes. Not giving up our guns.
No. We got it right.
Look at Australia.
Yeah. We'll look at the legislation. Or what I always like to say is, look at the politicians. Their Secret Service. How do they protect politicians? Is it kung fu?
Guns.
It's not sticks. They don't beat them up with. That's right. It's guns. How do we protect everybody with guns? What does our army do? What is Ukraine fighting Russia with right now?
Guns.
Yeah. You kind of need guns to stop people from oppressing you.
It's an equalizer.
That's kind of why the forefathers made that the Second Amendment. It was pretty damn important.
Yeah, you cannot be defenseless. And to compare abortion to guns, it's absolutely absurd.
No, it's just like comparing the LGBT and the BLM to guns. What the hell does that have to do with Roe versus Wade?
I'm sure if we're all patient, there will be something come up with some new gun law and the gays will be threatened. It will be the end of the world and will have nothing to do with homosexuality. I was just reading on a meme on my phone where it talked about how negative that same-sex marriages will be affected now on this Roe versus Wade is now overturned. I'm not even going to say they're crazy because maybe it will open up other doors, but again, I'll take a woman's side for a minute. We're talking about a woman's right, which really, I guess we don't have rights for children anymore either because of that. My God, we're getting into a big black hole here. We got maps. We got children being killed. What are we doing in this country? Anyways.
I was just going to point out that, technically, kids don't have any rights. Until you're 18, you have no rights. I mean, you have the right to be fed, to be clothed, and so on, but you can't own anything when you're 18. You can't, or until you're 18, you can't vote when you're a kid. You kind of have to listen to mom and dad. So I guess if they want to kill you, well, you got to die. That's
well, okay. See, okay. Here I'm gonna point out this one insanity in our society, and then I think Sideshow America, we're running out of time. But here's the thing: you can abort your baby, you can kill your baby. They're trying to fight. I think last time I checked, they put it to rest where the baby can die within 10 days, or you let it die within 10 days up to a year. Okay, but you can't spank your child.
You spank them and child abuse.
We can kill our kids, but you can't spank them. One of my discussions today that I love to enjoy talking about is when we talk about women's rights. Everyone is fighting like crazy over this abortion issue on both sides, okay? And there's a thing called getting your tubes tied. And what's funny is you can't get your tubes tied until you have so many kids, or you're past a certain age.
Yeah, I think you got to be 30. You got to be 30.
And the thing about this that's so funny is if you're just going to keep killing all these kids, and I don't want you to reproduce. There's something wrong with you. If you're putting yourself in positions where you have to keep doing this, tie the bitch's tubes. We don't want any of her offspring running around. And the choices she's making, we probably don't want to deal with those human beings as they get older, because guess what? They're going to grow up and become politicians, and those are the people we're going to have to choose from.
Well, especially if they're a breeder. If they're on welfare and they're just breeding, that's what they do. Maybe tie the tubes after a couple of kids.
Exactly. So what I think is funny is we got two sides of abortion fighting. Then they won't even consider tying tubes. But if you want surgery, transgender, and you want to go full Mikey on this, you can have your ovaries taken out. Okay, you can have, from my understanding, uterus taken out. So my thing is, how come transgender? See, again, women's rights. Yeah, see, again, women are under attack and they don't even know it. They're so busy marching for this stupid shit. They don't stop and think, wait a minute, transgender has more rights than I do because they can kick my ass in sports. They can have this taken care of, or they don't have to get abortions anymore, or right? But me as a straight, normal woman, I can't get my tubes tied. How come they're not pissed?
Right. Oh, I'd be pissed if I was a straight woman.
All of you women that are listening to this that aren't acting on what's happening to women right now, that want to bitch about abortion, you're stupid. Because you're under attack too, and you're attacking the wrong people. You're attacking the wrong people. Actually, you don't have to attack anything. I just think it needs to be brought up to attention. How come we can have these surgeries, but I can't get my tubes tied?
Yeah, it's not right. That doesn't make sense. It makes no sense at all.
And that's why this is called Sideshow America, because it's a great big shit show.
Oh, yeah.
It's a shit show. We have we have had so much mercy in this country with our sons that have drug problems. We've had so much mercy on our girls that can't keep their legs closed. We, try different relationships. We try different marriages. And I'm not knocking people that make mistakes. Don't get me wrong on this. I'm talking people that are just, you can't get your shit together. We've had so much mercy on these people. Now they're having children. Here it is, 30, 40 years later, and bam, There you go. We've been putting up with too much insanity, but guess what? It makes for a great big shit show. Get some popcorn, get some hot tamales, snuggle up with your girl or whatever she identifies as. Which, by the way, I saw on TikTok, they now want to be called it. Okay.
Wasn't that offensive a few years back?
It was offensive a few years ago. So I'm thinking, but I have a new pronoun. If you want feminine and want to be identified as she, her, or it, let's just cut to the chase and call it shit.
Shit. Hey,
yes.
shit.
Hey, shit.
Hey, I like that. That's a good one.
Well.
Shit number 1, shit number 2.
That is it for Sideshow America. Obviously, we could talk about this forever and ever.
We'll probably bring it up again sometime.
We'll bring it up again sometime. Yes. Telling you, man, I'm just in awe every time I turn on the news. Or, I don't even turn on the news. I talk to people, and that's where I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Well, I just want to say that I was looking at Barbara Streisand. She said she compares our Supreme Court to the Taliban for doing this. This is as bad as the Taliban's attacks on America.
I think it's funny because from what I understand, the Taliban, now people can correct me when they hear this because I've worked with some crazy vets. And sometimes they just go, sometimes they're telling you the truth, sometimes they're just in a dream world. But I heard from some vets that were over there that they castrate the women. So their clitoris, they carve it out. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, they chop it off.
Yeah.
They pull it out and they chop it. And it's not usually with a clean knife either. Sometimes it's a stone and it's a horrible process.
So there you go. Just like the Taliban, huh?
Yeah, our Supreme Court, where we have fucking rules and regulations, but we're just like the Taliban. Yep. Well, that's coming up next, folks. Cutting off clits.
There you go. Oh. But you won't fight for women's rights, so like real women's rights. So there you go. Oh. Have fun with that.
And there you have
it. There you have it. And that is it for Sideshow America.
We're out.